Good morning, everyone. I'm really excited about today because we just have a little bit of time before Christmas. So hopefully you're having fun getting ready for the season. I am excited to talk about, we're going to change gears just a little bit and talk about something that maybe will help you get in the spirit of the season. Because I think it's, for most people, not everyone, but it's really easy to get into the spirit of the season at the beginning of the season. Then as it gets closer to Christmas, it gets busy and crazy and you're worried about the names that you drew and what you're supposed to get for so-and-so, and then you start worrying about the drama and different things. And so then it can get a little bit hairy and we can forget what the season's all about. Now, I also want to be really sensitive to the fact that there are many of you out there who have really hard things that you deal with. Maybe you've lost a loved one. Maybe something happened at this time of year that was really hard for you. Maybe you have somebody who's not going to be there with you this Christmas because they've either passed away or for some other reason or another situation. So I want to be sensitive to that and realize that that can be a really hard thing. And it's okay if it's hard for you to get in the spirit of the season. This season is to help us to feel a little bit more warmth in our heart than we did before. Oh my goodness, I am already emotional. So I just want you to know that the reason I'm excited to talk to you about this today is because of some things I've been working on that have changed my life. Because the last several months, 6 months, I've been going through some hard things with my health. I think it's affecting my attitude more than I like to admit. And I've been fine, I'm fine, I can handle it, I'm fine. And then the last couple of months, I'm struggling with how I'm acting and how I'm behaving, and I feel like I'm starting to get back to myself. So in the course of talking about what we're going to talk about today, I want you to be prepared, because I know that we all have different belief systems. We all have different religious things that we like to honor or that we believe in. And that's okay. That's a beautiful thing. For me, mine is a Heavenly Father, and I believe that the Savior was born, and so I'm celebrating his birth. Many of you out there who don't have those same beliefs, you celebrate because it's fun to celebrate with everyone. Some of you don't celebrate Christmas at all, and that's okay. I hope that you'll be tolerant of the things that we talk about today, because we can all learn from one another. And I know that I have friends all over the world, and many of those friends have everyone has different beliefs than I do, and we learn so much from each other. When I work with people who are Buddhist, I learn so much of love and compassion and sharing from them. People who haven't quite decided on a belief system yet, they share so much beauty and love with me. And so I hope that wherever you're coming from, that you'll be tolerant of what we talk about today and just enjoy it and take it in the spirit that it's given, okay? So I want to talk about how to make sure we get the spirit of Christmas. And I hope that by the time we're done, you have some very specific things, because something that I learned that has been really, really powerful I'm going to show you today. It's a short little quick thing, and then I'm going to end with a little story that is one of my favorites. My assistant Chelsea reminded me of it, and I love it. And I have a copy of it. I ran up to go get it. She said, "We can get it off the computer." I said, "No, I have it. So anyways, we're going to use that. But what I want you to think about for a minute is, what are the things that are hard for you at Christmas? Whether it's because it gets so busy and you start to get agitated, or you get tired because you're up late wrapping presents and then you get short with the people that you care about, or you are hard on yourself because you didn't write your family Christmas letter, or you didn't do the things that you wanted to do. Whatever reason, if you're single and you don't have someone to share it with, whatever the things are that are hard for you, it might be that you have family relationships that are difficult, and when you get together at Christmas, those kind of flare up. It might be that you are judging other people. It might be that it's a selfish time where you're worried about what you're going to get for Christmas. And I know we have people of all ages listening right now. And, sometimes when you're younger, it's a little bit harder to not get really excited about what it is you're going to get for Christmas. And that's a fun thing. Enjoy all the fun things. But let's try to take a step higher, rise above wherever we are right now, and make it a little bit better. And I want to show you something that one of my mentors, who is brilliant, showed me recently. And I'm going to show you what he taught me, and it is powerful. He said, there is an invention that is one of the most powerful inventions that has ever been made by man, or ever in the universe. Even I would beg to challenge you on that and say that this is one of the most powerful inventions. Let me show you what it is. Okay, I'm going to draw it for you. And this is not a joke. Let me make sure my pen works. Let me see if you can't see it. It's stairs. Stairs are one of the best inventions ever, right? Think about how many things that helps with. Now I want you to notice something. In life, as we try to become better or change or achieve or progress, any kind of progression, let me show you what happens. I'm going to hold this close so you can see. This, oh goodness, thanks Chelsea. It reads my mind. Right here is a key spot, because right here is usually a crisis. Right before you are able to step up. It's backwards. That says crisis. So right before you are ready to progress and move on and rise above whatever you're dealing with right now, it becomes, you deal with a crisis because you don't know how to do it. You don't have the skills, and that's why there's a problem. In your doTERRA business, in life, you'll notice this. So think about the times when you have grown the most. It's usually right after you've had some big crisis. And the crisis usually happens because we didn't know how to handle it and we weren't humble enough to be open to it. Now, you might take issue with that, but I want you to think about it very carefully, because this is really true if you think about it. When we truly humble ourselves and open our heart to different options and ideas, then what happens is we eliminate the need for the crisis. So think about whatever issue you've kind of started thinking in your mind, okay, during this Christmas, I do need to mend a relationship with my family. Might not mend completely, but I'm going to treat them differently this time. I'm not going to let it bother me this season. I'm going to feel love. Or whatever it is that you're thinking, I need to work on this. Think about the times when that relationship has had problems or whatever. The times when you've achieved something that you are proud of, when you've gone up and you've seen progress, is usually right after a crisis. But when we're truly humble, what happens is we're already open to the ideas. We're open to the fact that maybe it wasn't their fault. We're open to the fact that maybe we could do something that could be contributing to the problem. Maybe there's something we need to work on. There are other ways to look at the situation. And what happens is when you're willing, the minute you're willing to look at two different possible options instead of thinking, this is the way it is and I'm right, and they said this about me, or this is what happened last Christmas and they're so selfish and we always have to do it their way, or whatever it is that your thing is, my kids do this or my husband does this. Every time we do that, we've already decided that there's one answer. But the minute you open up your mind and you're humble and you go, maybe there's another option. Maybe my husband said that to me because he's so worried about getting me what I want, but we don't have enough money for that. And so he was trying to fill in the blank. You see what I'm saying? But we automatically go, oh my goodness, this is what happened, this is what they did, and I'm right, and that's the way it is. But we open up to two options, and all of a sudden, we don't have to get so far into the crisis phase before we start to find other options. Because the minute you have two, all of a sudden, your mind is actually open to others. And usually what happens is the first two options that you think of, you think, well, it's either this or it's this. But the reality is, those might not even be the best things. You might think, well, this is, if I'm gonna fix this relationship, I either have to do this or this. If you're humble and you go, you know what, I'm willing to do this or this, then what happens is all of a sudden other ideas come. And you're thinking, wow, if I do option A, that will solve it the best. But because you're open, you'll start to notice other ideas. You know, when all of us have learned a new word, and then as soon as we learn this new word, all of a sudden we hear it all over the place. We hear it on the radio, our friend says it, we read it in a book, we're going, oh my goodness, why is everyone using this word now? The reality is they were probably using it before, you just didn't catch it because you didn't get it. And so as soon as these ideas come into your mind, you might find a 10th or a 50th option that makes it way better than you could have even imagined. So I want you to use that stair principle. And what happens is when you start to understand this and that this is the crisis place, what happens is this crisis is what leads to the resolution. Okay? And so when you understand that, you start to, when you understand that, what you do is you look at the situation, and when you have a crisis, this is why people can honestly say, I'm grateful for my trial. And I'll tell you that I'm grateful for my cancer because I'm becoming a different person. It created this. And I wasn't humble about it like I should have been. But as I've become more humble, willing to learn, guess what happens? Some beautiful things are coming from that. The more mature you become emotionally, the more, it doesn't mean you love the trial, doesn't mean you love the crisis, but you can appreciate it and realize, oh my goodness, the crisis is what brings growth. It's what brings progress. And it's awesome. So look for that opportunity. Watch for ways that you are rigid, where you're going, no, it's either this or this, or it's an ultimatum. You know, she'll never listen, or we can never mend that relationship. Doesn't, because guess what? You can't control them. It doesn't matter what they do, or if your neighbors do things that you like to judge at Christmas time, or they buy too much presents for their family and they spend way too much money on. Stop judging, get over it, and work on you. And I want you to think about how, if you will do this, you will change the way things happen during your holiday season. And even if you always have a great holiday season and you love Christmas, guess what's going to happen? You are going to have a better and a more rich time than you would have had if you hadn't tried to do this. I can guarantee you that. I want to end with a story. It's called A Brother Like That, because I want you to think about how a lot of times we think in terms of us. Well, I have to act this way with this relationship, because if I don't, then she gets mad at me, or he gets mad at me, or those people won't talk to us, or they won't come to our Christmas, or whatever it is. Because there's usually something. Everybody has their stuff, right? So I want you to notice what the young boy in this story is like. And let's try to be more like this holiday season. So A Brother Like That by C. Roy Angel. A friend of mine named Paul received a new automobile from his brother as a present for Christmas. On Christmas Eve, when Paul came out of his office, a street urchin was walking around the shiny new car, admiring it. "Is this your car, mister?" he asked. Paul nodded. "My brother gave it to me for Christmas." The boy looked astounded. "You mean your brother gave it to you? And it didn't cost you anything? Free for nothing? Gosh, I wish." He hesitated, and Paul knew what he was going to wish. He was going to wish he had a brother like that. But what the lad said jarred Paul all the way down to his heels. "I wish," the boy went on, "that I could be a brother like that." Paul looked at the boy in astonishment. Then impulsively he added, "Would you like to ride in my automobile?" "Oh, yes, I'd love that." After a short ride, the urchin turned and with his eyes aglow said, "Mister, would you mind driving in front of my house?" Paul smiled a little. He thought he knew what the lad wanted. He wanted to show his neighbors that he could ride in a big automobile. But Paul was wrong again. "Will you stop right there where those steps are?" the boy asked. He ran up the steps. Then in a little while, Paul heard him coming back, but he was not coming fast. He was carrying his little crippled brother. He sat him down on the bottom step, then sort of squeezed up against him and pointed to the car. "There she is, buddy, just like I told you upstairs. His brother gave it to him for Christmas, and it didn't cost him a cent. And someday, I'm going to give you one just like it. Then you can see for yourself all the pretty things in the Christmas windows that I've been trying to tell you about." Paul got out and lifted the little lad to the front seat of his car. The shining-eyed older brother climbed in beside him, and the three of them began a memorable holiday ride. That Christmas Eve, Paul learned what Jesus meant when he said, "It is more blessed to give." Let's be that for Christmas. So enjoy your holiday season. We'll see you next week.